scarcely believe it, as the end of extra time came and it was 1-1 and a couple of really quite good chances we had there and it didn't happen and we headed toward penalties and I felt this deep sense of foreboding, just a bit like I felt on Brexit night at 10 o'clock when the polls closed, mentally preparing myself for the worst but kind of hoping for the best. And hey, we did it. We've won a penalty shootout. And I say that because back in 1990, I'd bought a ticket for the World Cup final in Rome. I was really excited about it. And I was in a South London pub and I watched England lose on penalties to Germany. I then sold my ticket for the World Cup final at a considerable discount. Never thought I'd see us win on penalties. And hey, isn't it exciting? Isn't it actually bringing the country together in the most remarkable way? At least you would have thought so, wouldn't you? And yet we find, prominent Corbynistas like Ellie Mae O'Hagan saying that actually she really wanted Colombia to win. And all right, I know she's Welsh, but hey, Kevin Maguire, him, he does the 1-2 with Andrew Pearce on various television shows, on the Daily Mirror, and he prematurely, expecting, of course, Colombia to win, said that sound is Germany laughing at English fans who laughed at Germany going out. They do have a word for Schadenfreude. And others, Dawn Foster, Guardian writer, and all right, she's Welsh, but having spent last night at a Sinn Féin event, gave her full backing to Colombian fans. What is it? What is it about people within the United Kingdom, this sort of self-loathing of the concept of Englishness? And that's what it is. We're very happy if you're a Scottish nationalist, a Welsh nationalist, an Irish nationalist, but anything English must be looked down upon. As George Orwell wrote 75 years ago, there are certain classes in our country who would rather steal from the poor box on a Sunday morning in church than stand for the national anthem. But you know what? They're in a big minority, and we're going to take on Sweden on Saturday. I'm not going to make any silly predictions, but we have actually got the easiest run through possible with a draw to the World Cup final. So let's stay excited. And also want to say, the way that Captain Kane and the team, the way they behave, whether they've scored a penalty or missed a penalty, they're actually within themselves. There's a degree of restraint. They're fantastic role models for young people. So I am full of admiration and praise for the England team. Question tonight is, am I full of admiration and praise for Theresa May, the British Prime Minister? And I say that because when she gave that Lancaster House speech back in January 2017, and I was on this show that night, and I was effusive, fulsome in my praise for what she said. We are going to do this, do this, do this. I mean, I wasn't sure whether it was a new version of Margaret Thatcher or Boadicea. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. It was strong, and I was taken in by it. I believed her. I feel I've been played for a fool. But there she was again today, ahead, of course, of this crucial cabinet meeting that takes place in Chequers on Friday, where apparently the government will decide their Brexit strategy after 2 years of deliberation. It is a big and important meeting. And today there she was, at Prime Minister's Questions, trying to reassure the country that actually she was staying true to that Lancaster House message. Unfortunately, she got off to a somewhat wobbly start.
As we leave the UK, as we leave the EU, we will be able to...
Well, all right, I'll be generous to her. We can all make mistakes in language. But here was the serious stuff that she had to say before this cabinet meeting on Friday.
I'm pleased to say we have a strong team of the cabinet who will be taking this decision on Friday. And can I assure my right honourable friend that the Brexit that this government will be delivering and is working to deliver is a Brexit that ensures that we are out of the customs union, we're out of the single market, we're out of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice, we're out of the common agricultural policy, we're out of the common fisheries policy, we bring an end to free movement, we take control of our borders, we have an independent trade policy, but we're also able to have a good trade arrangement with the European Union, protecting jobs and prosperity for the future.
What are you moaning about, Farage? I mean, look, isn't it wonderful? She's doing all the things you'd asked for 20 years. It sounds great until you think about since that Lancaster House speech, and despite the fact she still reiterates those words, the agreement to a Brexit bill of £39 billion. The agreement just before Christmas. Do you remember 4:15 in the morning? She left Downing Street. She flew out to Brussels because she'd been summoned by an unelected bureaucrat called Monsieur Barnier, who had a deadline. And she signed up to a backstop agreement with the Northern Ireland problem if they couldn't reach agreement on the border, which says that the United Kingdom will maintain full alignment with those rules of the internal market and the customs union. All right, it may only be a backstop, but boy, what if there is no deal? What if Monsieur Barnier or that charming Mr. Verhofstadt do not want to have a deal with us? And of course, when she keeps continually telling us that we'll be outside the jurisdiction of the European Court, well, on my calculations at the moment, the European Court of Justice will have at least 8 more years of sway and influence. And isn't this the problem? By the way, I'll talk more about fisheries as the evening goes on too. But isn't this the problem? She stands up, she says these things, and yet she makes a huge degree of concessions. And I'm asking you, looking at the concessions so far, given her speech today, do you actually believe Mrs. May will stick to her red lines when the Cabinet meets on Friday? And if you think, Nigel, there's no reason to doubt the honesty and sincerity of this wonderful Prime Minister, then call me on 0345 6060 973. Or if you think, as I'm beginning to, you wouldn't trust her as far as you could throw her, then text me on 84850. Or maybe you think this is all a result of Cabinet infighting, of not having a proper majority in Parliament, and actually, the poor woman, she's in an impossible position, then tweet using the hashtag Farage and LBC at LBC. Watch us on Facebook and, of course, comment there too. Hi, Nigel. I've never trusted Theresa May. I never will unless she really does what she promises to do about Brexit. Until that is done, I will hold my breath. Well, I wouldn't if I were you. That could be very dangerous. She is a Remainer, after all, says Anita from Ramsgate. Nigel, May has basically not kept to her word on anything so far. I wouldn't trust her, says Alex in Norfolk. And on Twitter, I get, not anymore. She's let the levers down, Susan. A lot of people feeling like that. Don't think she will keep to the main Brexit ethos at all. Extremely disappointed with the lack of progress, says Carl on Facebook. What is the red line? Surely it's leaving the EU. No mandate for anything else, says Andy. Well, Andy, that is an interesting question, because I guess if on the 29th of March next year at 11 p.m. we leave the European treaties and we formally leave the European Union, then she has delivered a great historic change. The problem is, Andy, with all these concessions she's making, it will effectively mean Brexit in name only. And when she stands up today and says we're leaving the common fisheries policy, the agricultural policy of a single market, she makes it sound like all of this is happening on March the 29th next year. It may happen on her current trajectory in 7 or 8 years from now, or maybe a decade. And that is the problem. Continually, she kicks the can down the road whilst maintaining the pretense that Brexit means Brexit. I have to say, I think she really is conning us all. I think she conned me for a bit. I can't believe I was taken in. I feel like a right mug. Let's go to Jeff in Grays in Essex, a new caller to this show. Jeff, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Nigel. Huge fan. Voted for UKIP in Thurrock on many occasions. And this government, well, it's a very, very simple message to the Tories now because of the cabinet that we do have, which has got loads of Remainers in there. I've never voted Labour in my life. Could never, ever bring myself to do that. Even being a shop steward, a branch chairman for a union and representing my guys, I've seen what the European Union has done for Southern Essex with the closure of Dagenham. That started in about 1978. I think we joined the European Union then. And it used
we joined it, Jeff. We joined it in '73, but even I wouldn't blame it for everything, although it hasn't done us a lot of good. But Jeff, I mean, you voted for UKIP. And there were millions of UKIP voters who then said, "Do you know what? We don't need to vote UKIP. We voted Brexit. We've got Mrs May. She's saying all the right things." And maybe you were one of those, Jeff. I don't know. But do you actually trust this woman?
No, I don't trust any of the Tory cabinet that is full of Remainers.
Right.
Jacob Rees-Mogg, definitely. David Davis, I mean, he's trying very hard, but he's having his hand put up his back. And the only way that these people that are all these Remainers, the only way to really give it to them is to give them Jeremy Corbyn, because most of these people have got their fingers in the European pie. And Jeremy Corbyn is a straight, doesn't want nothing to do with the European Union.
Yeah, but Jeff...
We're in a marginal here in
Jeff, Jeremy Corbyn, has been voting against the European Union for longer than I have. But the problem is he's a hostage of his own parliamentary party who are very, very pro.
Yeah, a lot of them are, but then I've known guys people around me that have voted Labour all their life, but voted to get out of the European Union as well. And I'm looking at what these Conservatives are doing, and it's time to just turn around and say to Brussels, unless you come back with free trade to us, you ain't getting no money at all.
Jeff, I want you as part of our negotiating team, because you seem to understand the facts of life better than many in our cabinet, indeed perhaps even better than our Prime Minister. Jeff, thanks for the call. And Christine from Wallington says, "I don't trust her. She's selling us down the river." Christine, there are millions of people beginning to feel like this, which is why Friday's meeting is so important. You're listening to the Nigel Farage Show, exclusive on LBC, live from Strasbourg, and it's 7:15.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast every weekday morning from 7, only on LBC.
Mrs May proclaiming yesterday that transgender people across the UK find the process of legally changing their gender overly bureaucratic and invasive. I want to see a process that is more streamlined and demedicalised, because being trans should never be treated as an illness. Why isn't she out there doing things about education, housing, defence? Why the hell is she getting caught up with something like this when it's of virtually no interest to her own voters?
Nick Ferrari at breakfast.
With The Times, be not just informed, but well informed.
Sometimes you just fancy a restyle, a new bathroom, perhaps a new kitchen. But as with all stylish things, you'll want to make sure that they're fitted to perfection. That's where Trusted Trader are always on hand to help. TrustedTrader.com have lots of really lovely tradespeople who are vetted, reviewed and reliable, so you'll find the professional you need, including an expert who'll design and install that gorgeous new kitchen or bathroom.
Your future is here. The Global Academy, a forward-thinking state school for 14 to 19-year-olds interested in a media career. Get the very best start in your media career at a school where you can study GCSE and A-levels alongside the vocational media qualifications you need. Visit globalacademy.com to find out more.
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs. Now available with 0% finance. Search Maserati. Based on PCP sales only until the 31st of August 2018. Minimum 20% deposit, 24-month term, 10,000 miles per annum. Subject to status. Participating dealers only. Maserati Financial Services.
You know your business, what it needs, what keeps you up at night, and what gets you fired up every morning. You know where you want to be in 5 years' time, and that you really want to be there in 2. We know we can help you get there. Barclays now offers unsecured loans of up to £100,000 that can be with you in days or even hours to help move your business forward. To apply for a loan that's just right for your business, search Barclays Business Loans. Let's go forward. Subject to status, terms and conditions apply, guarantee may be needed.
Your data matters to the NHS. Information about your health and care helps us improve your individual care, plan your local services, and research new treatments. The strict rules about how this data can and cannot be used have been strengthened. We're committed to keeping your information safe and being clear about how it is used. You can choose whether your confidential patient information is used for research and planning. To find out more, search Your NHS Data Matters. This has been brought to you in association with the Information Commissioner's Office.
With new BT Plus, you'll get our best connection whether you're using our fastest fibre speeds at home or extra 4G speed with double mobile data when you're out and about. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you won't miss a beat. New BT Plus, fibre and 4G together. Our best connection in and out the home. BT, be there.
Keep connected promise, extra speed 4G and double data on BT Mobile. Speed varies by location, coverage and demand.
This is LBC, live from Strasbourg, the Nigel Farage Show. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag Farage on LBC.
It's the same old record from Theresa May. She says today in the House of Commons a Brexit that ensures we are out of the customs union, out of the single market, out of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice and the agriculture policy and the fisheries policy. Hooray! We're all supposed to say as the 17.4 million leavers. Trouble is, we've heard it all before. We didn't hear Brexit means Brexit today. I can't think why. But we've heard it all before, and yet we see concession after concession after concession, the can being kicked down the road. I'm asking you, when she says these things, do you believe her? Let me give you an example of why I find her and this entire government difficult to believe. Today, they published their plan, their white paper, on an independent fisheries policy. And I was chatting today with British MEPs, one or two of whom said, oh, well, you must be very pleased, Nigel. I mean, this looks really, really good. And you pick it up and it's a blueprint for a sustainable and profitable fishing industry that will regenerate coastal communities and support future generations of fishermen. Oh, wow, this is really, really exciting. Gosh, this is great. Isn't it about time? I mean, you know, we've lost 100,000 jobs in fishing and fishing-related jobs and angling jobs since we joined the common market. We've had a rotten deal. So I think, wow, this is really good. And then you get to the bit where it says the UK will have the opportunity to move towards a fairer share of fishing opportunities. An opportunity to get a better deal. No. We voted to leave and take back our territorial waters, to be like Iceland, to be like Greenland, to be like the Faroe Islands, to have 200 miles of the North Sea or the median line that is under our exclusive control. Doesn't mean we won't allow foreign boats to fish in our waters. We will. We'll just charge them for doing so. And you read the fine print and it's clear they do not intend, despite the headlines, despite what she said in the House of Commons today, they do not intend to take back full control of what is rightfully ours, our territorial waters and the fish that swim within them. They are guilty of total deception on the fisheries issue, and I suspect much more too. I feel really, really angry about this Prime Minister and about the way she's deceiving us virtually every time she gets up to speak. She was a Remainer, and I have to say, folks, I think she still is. So I feel about it. Wonder how Michael in Edgware feels, a new caller to this show. Michael, good evening.
Hi, Nigel. Hiya.
Welcome.
Well, thanks for letting me speak. I think, well, two things. One is you yourself and Guy Fawkes are the only people that ever walked into Parliament with clear intention, number one. And just to look, grab...
I'm not... Michael, I have to tell you this story. I've never told it before on LBC.
Yes, please, yeah.
So my first day here was in July in the European Parliament, 1999. And the British ambassador to the European Union requested a meeting. And there were three of us as UKIP MEPs and him and two officials, and they walked in. And they sat opposite us, and there was what felt like an interminable silence of about 30 seconds. And he said, "Gentlemen, what are your intentions?" And I said, I'm not Guy Fawkes, we're not terrorists, we haven't come to blow it up, but I think they really thought that UKIP were the wild men from the hills that were going to set fire to it all. I have to say, I've always tried to do it through the ballot box, Michael, but I couldn't resist that story. But
oh, I hit on a pun there, then obviously, yeah.
So, Michael, do you trust this woman?
Well, if we can skip on a couple of things. One is we've got to ask ourselves, has she got the backbone? Because when they looked at Nigel Farage coming in with UKIP, they were looking at a guy that wouldn't shift, that said what he wanted, and had the backbone to not be, okay, you might compromise, but you went in with clear, firm intentions. You came and you got hold of the country by the scruff of the neck and said, wake up to what's happening. Now, let's just take one thing that you said, anything from the past, and you never change your mind. You mentioned the Airbus industry.
Yes.
Now, Britain has been specialising in wings, the most difficult parts of an aircraft, for over 100 years. We're world experts. Europe can't do wings. And you quite rightly said, oh, I see. So what they're going to do, they're going to say, no, you can't make the wings. We're going to set our own factory up. Impossible. They're never going to do that. Now, that was just something that you threw off the top of your head many moons ago. And it's a fact. What are they going to do? Are they going to spend 60 billion and get 100 years of experience and learn how to make aircraft wings, the most difficult part of any aircraft? And you were dead right, as you've been right about everything else. And I think that Theresa May, she means well. She doesn't have the Farage backbone, the spine, because she's surrounded by what-ifs. Oh, well, don't say that because she might end up... Don't say that. Well, you don't worry about rubbing people up the wrong way. You can have your 50...
I couldn't care less.
Exactly. And then afterwards, go out and have a pint with them. And I think, why are you and Boris Johnson the most popular MPs in Britain? Why? Either to have a go at you or to admire you, but either way, everybody else is just boring. You know
well, Michael, I'm an MEP. No, look, I think people do like personality.
MEP, my apologies, yeah.
People do like personalities. I think that's true. But Michael, the trouble is, I mean, Ronnie Reagan, when he first got elected, said, when he went and met the White House staff, he said, give me a team of one-armed economists. And what he meant was, you ask an official an opinion, they say, well, on the one hand this, on the other hand that. Roddy wasn't interested. He had an agenda he wished to pursue. He wanted a team of one-armed economists. And my feeling about May is, above all, she wants to maintain party unity. She does not want to upset and provoke a parliament where she clearly hasn't got an absolute majority. And I think that when you're fighting something as... and Brexit is a radical change. When you're trying to do this, you've actually got to be bold and strike out and say, we are on this journey, come with us.
Which is exactly what you've been doing from day one. And I think that when we look back in 15, 20 years' time, and you yourself look back, Nigel, I think you're going to say, good God, what did I do?
Well, Michael, I always tell my kids... kids, Michael, when I'm dead, I'll be really popular. Listen, thank you. Nice comments. Very, very sweet of you. On Twitter, I'm not a fan of the PM at all, but nothing is agreed till everything is agreed. I voted leave and feel reassured by what she said today. Alex, fine. Fine, you are maintaining faith in her. Many of us are finding it tough. Gina feels similar. Seems like things are about to change for the better, and I have a feeling she might just do it. Gina, I trust that's not Gina Miller. She has not delivered on anything yet. Lie upon lie. A leaver should be in charge of Brexit. Ellen, I increasingly feel that way. Some of you still have great confidence in her. Others say she's got great stickability through a very difficult position. But you know something? If, as a result of Friday, we finish up with something that at best is Brexit in name only, frankly, it isn't good enough. Christopher is calling from Leeds, a new caller to this show. Good evening, Christopher.
Oh, good evening, Nigel. You actually spoke to me a couple of days ago, so it's nice.
Did I? Oh, well, that's bad information I've got. Christopher, do you trust her?
Sorry, I can't hear anything.
Do you trust the Prime Minister when she stands up today and says she will deliver a Brexit that ensures we are out of the customs union, the single market, and the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice?
No way do I trust her. To be honest, I've actually asked some inside information, actually. My local MP is actually on the Brexit committee herself. I'm friends with Andrea Jenkins.
I tell you what, she is becoming, for a relatively new member of Parliament, she's making waves, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, she gave up a PPE position just to fight Brexit, and we actually known each other for a fair while, and one of her frustrations, and now this is a bit of inside information for you here, one of her frustrations is that she's actually on the Brexit committee, and there's only 7 Brexiteers on the committee. The rest of them are Remainers. And everything they try to do, it gets voted down by the Remainers. So, obviously...
I guess in a way, Christopher, that's not a surprise. I mean, there are 651 MPs, of whom only 156 publicly back Brexit. So it's not a surprise that in committees you're outvoted 2-1, 3-1, is it?
Yeah, exactly. So obviously Theresa May is listening. If I want to quote one of your sayings, Nigel, Theresa May does not have the balls to put country before party.
Did I say something like that? I probably did. Christopher, to me, she's scared of Parliament, but if she came out clearly and said, we will do these things, and I mean it, no more concessions, no more kowtowing to these bully boy bureaucrats in Brussels, the country, huge millions in the country would cheer, would be with her, and if you take the country with you, you'll find Parliament comes with you too. Christopher, thank you very much. Indeed, Mrs May has no interest in changing the current system. She will just change what it is called. If we don't get a proper Brexit, the Tories will be finished. Best wishes, Linda and David. And do you know something? I, at the weekend, met some cabinet ministers, some former cabinet ministers from the Conservative Party. They were leavers, obviously, because the other side wouldn't even meet me or talk to me ever, even socially. And they were of the same feeling, in private, that unless a clean, democratic Brexit is delivered, the Tory party will be destroyed by this, and yet many in Parliament, Sir Alan Duncan and others, just simply don't seem to see it. You're listening to the Nigel Farage Show, exclusive in LBC, live from Strasbourg. It's 7:30 and time for the news with Thomas Watts.
The Porton Down Weapons Facility is analysing samples after 2 people were taken critically ill following exposure to a mystery substance in Wiltshire. Counter-terror officers from the Met Police are in Amesbury, about 10 miles from the site of the Salisbury nerve agent attack in March. A hospital in Liverpool says it's cooperating with the police inquiry into the deaths of 17 babies at a neonatal unit in Chester. Police are continuing to question a nurse on suspicion of the murder of 8 infants. Police say a huge moorland fire in Greater Manchester may have been caused by arson. Firefighters and soldiers have been working together to battle the flames on Saddleworth Moor, which have been burning for a week and a half. LBC weather, showers dying away this evening to leave another dry night. More patchy light rain in the far northwest. Then tomorrow some sunny spells again, but scattered showers across the south of England. An overnight low of 11 degrees.
LBC travel, the M25 is stop-start clockwise from junction 29 for Romford to Dartford after an accident, and anti-clockwise it's queuing from junction 27 for the M11 to junction 25 for Enfield, where a lane's closed because of an accident. On the M4 eastbound, it's stop-start between junction 3 for Hayes and 2 for Brentford after a breakdown, and in Putney on the South Circular Road, it's closed in both directions because of an accident near the junction for the A3 West Hill. There's queues on the approach there. LBC Travel, I'm Charlotte Downs.
This is LBC.
The 7 dwarves were in a bit of a pickle. With the mines closing down, their finances were somewhat fickle. They looked to downsize their home fast, so Snow White could make her debts a thing of the past.
Boys, the cottage is looking well rough.
So they spoke to the friendly team at Property Rescue, who buy properties in any condition and can offer a guaranteed sale in as little as 2 days, hassle-free. Fast forward to living happily ever after. Visit propertyrescue.co.uk. Property Rescue. Fast forward to sold.
The crowd is electric. There's a real air of anticipation today. And here it comes, our midfield general, the new Hyundai Tucson Go Edition SUV, proving that it's equipped to deal with anything. Packed with extra kit, including sat-nav with live traffic updates to help you stay on the ball, plus our ever-present 5-year unlimited mileage warranty to keep you match fit. But football fan or not, with Hyundai you can all make the most of our World Cup Tucson Go Edition. Discover more at hyundai.co.uk. Warranty T's and C's apply.
Your data matters to the NHS. Information about your health and care helps us improve your individual care, plan your local services, and research new treatments. The strict rules about how this data can and cannot be used have been strengthened. We're committed to keeping your information safe and being clear about how it is used. You can choose whether your confidential patient information is used for research and planning. To find out more, search Your NHS Data Matters. This has been brought to you in association with the Information Commissioner's Office.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade-quality building products. In July, we've got a Padsload IM65 nailer kit for just £439 ex-VAT, plus £70 worth of free brads, plus an extra battery and cleaner. Now that's a real deal. We've got even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse. For more information, go to selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade go. Ocean Credit Card.
If you're looking for a credit card with a credit limit of up to £1,500, go to checkocean.co.uk and see in seconds if you'll be accepted for an Ocean credit card before you apply. Checking won't affect your credit rating, so it's a no-brainer. Find out if it's a yes. Go now to checkocean.co.uk. 39.9% APR representative variable. Intelligent Lending Limited is a credit broker. Capital One is the exclusive lender.
Checkocean.co.uk.
This is LBC, live from Strasbourg. The Nigel Farage Show. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag Farage on LBC.
Senior Leave campaigners are getting very worried about what may happen at Chequers on Friday when the full cabinet meets. I know, I've spoken to many of them over the course of this week, and they feel this Prime Minister is now about to sell out a real clean democratic Brexit and to put us into something rather like Norway, where, OK, we may be exempted from one or two parts of European policy, but we'll be in most of it and have very little say over any of it. In fact, we may become like Norway, but without the fish, because even on that, they haven't got the will to take back our territorial waters. So there is big nervousness ahead of this. Despite that, the Prime Minister today stands up and says all the right things. Do you trust her? Do you believe her? The other Brexit development today is Vote Leave, who were the official campaign, very much a Tory campaign. There were one or two Labour in there. But their campaign's former chief executive, Matthew Elliott, has gone on the attack today because he's received a report from the Electoral Commission accusing him of breaking the law. And the most serious charge is that they exceeded official expenditure limits. £7 million the official campaigns were allowed to spend. Smaller campaigns were allowed to spend about £700,000. So what happened here? They had money left over. They gave £680,000 to a youth campaign group called Believe. But the Electoral Commission have said that the law was very clear that separate campaigns on the same side should not be seen to be working together. And the suggestion is that Vote Leave were working together with Believe, and therefore they've broken the rules. Pro-EU Labour MP Chuka Ramuna says, we know they lied, we know they cheated too. It's official. Very serious implications. Well, I tell you what, Chuka Ramuna, pick the bones out of this. On the Remain side, Craig Oliver, who of course was David Cameron's right-hand man and press officer during much of Cameron's time at Number 10 and indeed during the Remain campaign in the referendum. In Tim Shipman's big book on the referendum, he said that at 7:30 every morning, Stronger In, the official Remain campaign, would have a conference call with all the other groups involved, the Labour groups, the Liberal groups, the Conservative groups involved. But if that's not working together, I don't know what is. And what about Obama, when he came to this country to tell us to vote Remain? How much of the expenditure of that was included in their limits? And what about the £9 million, Chuka, that Cameron spent sending a leaflet through every door in this country? By my calculations, even without the £9 million of leaflets, even without the cost of Obama, by my calculations, working together, Stronger In, with these other campaigns, may well have overspent by £7 million. And what will the Electoral Commission do about any of that? Let me tell you, every single board member of the Electoral Commission is a Remainer. They're former Labour MPs, they're former Liberal MPs, they're former Tory MPs. They're Remainer to the core, and they'll fine Vote Leave £20,000, £80,000, whatever it is. And when it comes to the Remain campaign, do you know what they'll do? Nothing. Brexit was an earthquake in British politics, but you know something? We need several more to clear the whole bloomin' stables out and start again. We don't trust the Tories, we don't trust Labour, neither the Liberals. Who should we trust? What are the options? It's been over 2 years now since the vote, and absolutely nothing has really happened, says Jimmy in Colchester. I voted Remain. However, the will of the people must be heard, says Jay from Romford. I do genuinely feel that trust in politics and politicians is diminishing because of this whole agonising way in which Brexit is being put through, or really, in reality, not being put through. Julie is calling from Coventry. Good evening, Julie.
Hello, Nigel. Nice to speak to you.
Good to speak to you. So, Mrs May, I mean, she's saying, if you're a leaver, Julie, she's saying all the right things, but do you actually believe her?
No, I actually think she's deluded. I mean, I actually wanted to believe in her. I really have hope.
Well, many of us did,
to believe in her, but she doesn't seem to understand that the words she's speaking need action, and the public won't be deceived by a word play of Brexit. It needs to be a Brexit. But I honestly think, Nigel, as well, there's a bigger problem than this, because she's not thinking about the future of the Conservative Party, because I voted Conservative. I held my nose last time, voted Conservative, and if it looked like they were doing a good job, that's what I would keep voting. I would give them my vote as my part of the confidence boost for Brexit. However, I'm sure there's a lot of people feel the same as me. We're in a complete and utter vacuum, that if what we get is nothing recognisable as Brexit, then I'd never, ever vote Conservative again. And I really can't see the party getting in for years and years, or many...
this really could wreck them, you know. I mean, Gloria says to me on Facebook, we need someone to support Brexit. A brand new party, suggests Gloria. But, you know, the trouble is, Julie, getting brand new parties going in British politics with a first-past-the-post system is hellishly difficult, isn't it?
I know. But this is not going to be a short fix, what she's thinking of, to keep the Cabinet happy. Because the country would, as you said, be behind her. There's people that voted Remain that now just want her to get on with it.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I think she's very poor at picking advisors.
Julie,
I don't think that helps at all.
I think there are millions like you, Julie. I mean, I've got one here on a text I've got from Steve in Cambridge. If May messes this up and gives in to the wants and desires of the unelected EU, I will never vote Tory again. There's millions of you, Julie.
Yes,
there are millions of you out there who would either look to vote for a different party, or it's funny, isn't it? Because, you know, Sir Alan Duncan yesterday, you know, was launching a pretty vicious attack on Jacob Rees-Mogg, and we talked about that. But Sir Alan doesn't seem to understand that his Remainer Conservative view is really detached. I reckon, Julie, 75 to 80% now of people who voted Tory in the local elections and the previous general election are Leave voters. And if they don't appeal to them, they're finished, aren't they?
Yeah, and we don't need a people's vote either. We definitely don't need a people's vote. We knew what we were all voting for. It was in the manifesto. We've been told over and over again what it was. We don't need a people's vote. She just needs to get on and get us out. Do what she promised.
Will she do it, Julie? Will she do it, Julie?
We should.
Will she do it? She should. No, I know that. I'm asking you, will she do it?
Well, hopefully she's listening to some of the conversation tonight.
Julie, we better send you down a knock on the door at number 10, I think. Thank you. Let's go to Craig, who's calling from Clapham. Craig, hello.
Hi there, Nigel. Pleasure to talk to you.
Good evening. So, Craig, were you a Leaver, Craig?
Oh, yeah, I'm a proud Brexiteer.
Right. So, proud Brexiteer.
Yeah.
So, as a proud Brexiteer, how do you feel about this Prime Minister's speeches and her progress?
You know what? I mean, I voted Tories at the last election purely on delivering Brexit. Okay? So, before that, I voted Labour. Now, if they do not, or if Mrs M doesn't deliver on a full Brexit, I would never, ever, ever vote for Tories again. But there was a question I wanted to ask you, though, Nigel, which is, Mrs. M has got a pyjama party on Friday where she's got the ministerial colleagues gathering around the table and the fire.
The
and
Agatha Christie get-together in the country house. Yeah, I know.
They're having a nice PJ party. I wanted to know if it's clear from that it's going to be Brexit in name only. Would you return to frontline politics to challenge that? And just very quickly, on the question is on do we trust Mrs. May? Do you know what? Throughout the process, I've slightly trusted her, but I've always been sceptical because you've always said she gives good speeches, but there's no substance behind it.
Yeah,
and the more I've thought about it, the more I've realised it's like, you know, would we trust a vegan to cook a hog roast? No, we wouldn't. So why would we trust Mrs. M to deliver Brexit when she's a Remainer? But the worst thing is, how did people like Chris Grayling back her when she was running for the Prime Minister post?
Oh, party first, old boy. Party first. It's all about party unity. Nothing else matters. The country can hang. It's all about the party. Craig, you know, if they deliver Brexit in name only, we'll be furious. Many people engaged with this show will be furious. Many engaged with this show will be secretly quite pleased because they're actually Remainers and they want the whole thing softened down. But the trouble is, Craig, that the vast majority of people out there are just too busy paying their mortgages, worrying about their jobs, bringing up their kids, doing whatever they do. And unless there is a clear, decisive gap, it makes it very difficult for people like me to get back engaged in frontline politics. But, and let me say this to you, and I've not said this before, if they were to delay the implementation of Article 50, that we didn't even leave the treaties on the 29th of March next year, but postpone that for a year or two. Do you know what, Craig? I would have, in that situation, that would be outright, full, and clear for the public to understand betrayal. And in those circumstances, I would have no choice. I hope it doesn't happen. This is my 20th July in Strasbourg. I've done my bit in elected politics. I never want to have to do it again. Ever, ever, ever. But if they drop the ball, I'll have no choice. Craig, great call. You're listening to the Nigel Farage Show, exclusive at LBC. It's 7:45.
Coming up at 8 on LBC, Clive Bull.
Esther McVey has apologised for inadvertently misleading Parliament on universal credit. But the real question is the new system working?
Clive Bull on LBC.
Bath time. It's a lovely, relaxing way to start or end the day. To clean the cobwebs off. To mess about with the kids before they get into the gym jams. Add some bubbles or some candles. The only thing that could make bath time even more relaxing is if you've got a smart meter. Because the energy that you could save could give you 115 bath times every year. Save your energy for bath times. Contact your energy supplier about getting your free smart meter.
Based on BEI's expected average annual savings of 2%, participating suppliers and eligible customers only. Savings possible by measuring energy usage and reducing wastage.
You know your funk from your punk, from your Gregorian monk. But do you know your pension options? PensionWise is a service set up by the government to provide free, impartial guidance about your pension pot. If you're over 50, call 0800 144 8944 to book your free telephone or face-to-face appointment. PensionWise. Get to know your options.
Your data matters to the NHS. Information about your health and care helps us improve your individual care, plan your local services, and research new treatments. The strict rules about how this data can and cannot be used have been strengthened. We're committed to keeping your information safe and being clear about how it is used. You can choose whether your confidential patient information is used for research and planning. To find out more, search Your NHS Data Matters. This has been brought to you in association with the Information Commissioner's Office.
The Volkswagen Caddy from just £179 per month on contract hire now comes with 2 free services. So instead of spending your money on this, you could spend it on this. Or even this. Incredible offers to help your business thrive. Search Volkswagen Caddy to find out more. Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles. Working with you. Business users only, excluding VAT at 20%, over 36 months, £537 initial rental. T's and C's apply. No ownership. Until the 30th of September 2018. Volkswagen Finance.
For everyone who wants more from their Wi-Fi. For everyone who wants to binge-watch box sets all day long. For everyone who's been stung by unexpected broadband price hikes. TalkTalk has your back. Because our faster fibre comes with our promise of no mid-contract price rises and includes our all-new Wi-Fi hub. With our fastest, strongest, most reliable signal yet. All for just £25.50 a month for 18 months. Search TalkTalk Fibre. TalkTalk for everyone. £30 setup fee, contracts and conditions apply.
This is LBC, live from Strasbourg, the Nigel Farage Show. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tweet at LBC using the hashtag Farage on LBC.
It was Jacob Rees-Mogg in the House of Commons a few months ago who said the Prime Minister's red lines appear to be turning a little pink. I can't quite do the accent. And Laura from Shenfield in Essex says the problem with Mrs May's red lines is she keeps using a pen containing invisible ink. Laura, I think you've done that better than Jacob Rees-Mogg did. I really, really do, because they keep shifting. Nigel, I'm going to stick with May. She'll pull a rabbit out of the hat yet, will she? Well, I hope she does. Friday's the day. Found myself yesterday, it's funny really, but sitting here yesterday with old Juncker next to me and Tusk opposite and that maniac Verhofstadt on my right. And when they all criticised the British government for not being clearer about what they wanted from Brexit, I have to say I found myself actually agreeing with them. It is pathetic that over 2 years after Brexit, we're having a cabinet meeting to decide what our Brexit strategy is. There are, it's suggested to me by text, establishment forces at work which will prevent Brexit from occurring. Democracy is a thing of the past because, unless it's what the will of the deep state want, they will try every trick to overturn the will of the people, as is happening in America, says Henry. Henry, the deep state, the establishment, identify it as you will, are of course doing their best to overturn Brexit, are of course trying to bring down President Trump, are of course at work to try to subdue and suppress the new Italian government. But I tell you something, Henry, the angrier they get, the more hysterical they get, the more it says to me they're losing. Do you know a Labour peer last night in the House of Lords, using parliamentary privilege, basically accused me of criminality and rigging the markets? Of course, he's got parliamentary privilege. He can say what the hell he likes. You know, Henry, this side of the argument, the nation-state argument against the globalist argument, we're winning, they just don't like it. Let's go to Malcolm in Balham. Malcolm, do you trust the Prime Minister when she says the things she does today?
Well, let's put it this way. Hi, Nigel. I do find it quite difficult, and all the points you've made reinforce that. But you said something in her about she hasn't delivered. So that just sort of echoed in my mind. I thought, well, hang on a minute. Let's just think. She has got Article 20 through Parliament, and most recently just sort of managed to squeak through the. Was it an act that transferred European law into UK law? She got that through Parliament?
Yeah, she has, and the EU withdrawal bill got the royal assent last week.
Yes.
And also, no, I mean, in terms of... Yeah, in terms of...
EU to move on to the kind of economic side of the argument. So I was thinking, you know, in the face of a Parliament stacked totally against leave, maybe what 2 or 3 positive things you could say is that she has got those key pieces of legislation through. I mean, I agree with you. She's acting more as a manager than a kind of leader. I mean, if we had a strong leader that said, right, we're leaving on WTO rules, and if the EU want a deal, they'll have to come and knocking on our door and we'll consider them. But if you set off in that direction, would you take Parliament with you, or would you have hit the kind of... Would you stumbled at the first block into the first hurdle?
Malcolm, you have to take the country with you, clearly. You have to, you know, if you've got the country with you, then Parliament becomes much easier. Look, Malcolm, if she wants to say to us, we will be leaving the treaty, you know, that we joined up to on the 1st of January 1973. However, you know, It'll take many, many years to untangle us from all of this, and you have to understand in the modern world, even though we're not in the political union, we will be very closely tied to a single market and the fish and the customs union, that the common fisheries policy, actually, in an act of neighbourliness, we have to share these things. I mean, if she was honest about it, Malcolm, I wouldn't perhaps mind as much. But is she getting us towards Brexit on March the 29th? At the moment, yes, she is, with all the things she's done. But the rest of it, she gives us the impression that very quickly we'll be in control of everything, and that is way, way away from the concessions she's making and her negotiating position. And Malcolm, I frankly think she's being dishonest with the British public.
On both sides, though. I mean, the way she got the latest bill through was to make all those concessions,
yes.
And then David Davis stood up very soon afterwards and said, "Oh, and by the way, you won't have a meaningful vote," or something like that.
Yeah, and Dominic Greaves said, "Oh dear, gosh, I've been taken for a mug." I mean, maybe you could be onto something, Malcolm. Maybe she's a genius.
I don't know.
Maybe she takes us all for mugs. Maybe all of us lose. I don't know. Malcolm, I just simply think that to be as assertive in public as she is about all these specific issues. Fishing. She mentioned fishing today in the House of Commons, and I just read you what the fishing white paper said. And the two are, frankly, poles apart. Malcolm, I don't trust her. Do you?
In the title, but, you bury all the complications in the detail of the document and hope people don't read that much, but you obviously have. So
do you trust her, Malcolm? Come on, Malcolm, do you trust her?
I'm finding it really, really hard. It's a nice one, isn't it? I just wonder if it's all going to come down to that final kind of, whatever happens in Parliament when we get to a final kind of take it or leave it kind of situation.
Well, there are potentially many more dramas to come. There could be another election in October. There could be a delay of Article 50, which I would see as the moment when the betrayal was absolutely full and public. And of course, there's Mr. Blair and Clegg and others wanting a second referendum. And yet, despite the onslaught of negativity from corporate Britain, leavers are still resolute in their view. Malcolm, great call. Thank you very much indeed. Nigel, I'm still a confirmed Brexiteer, but what scares me is the lack of integrity and quality in our current politicians. They have no shame anymore, says John. May says one thing, does the opposite. I don't trust her. She is secretive. I would never again vote for the establishment parties. They are finished, says Gail. Well, Gail, I don't know, they are finished. I mean, it could cost the Tories an election, but the thing is, when you've got a first-past-the-post electoral system, it's very, very difficult to get rid of them. I think Andrew may well on Facebook have got it absolutely right, and I've been suggesting this for well over a year. It was always a ridiculous idea to have a Remainers deal with Brexit. Brexit should have always been done by those who actually believe it. Sad days ahead, I fear. Andrew, that is kind of what I'm getting from some quite senior Conservative politicians, some quite big backers of the Brexit campaign. There is a mood of gloom, a feeling that it'll be Brexit in name only at the very best. Let's hope on Friday at Chequers she stuns us all. There is a remarkable Mrs May who stands up and takes charge and delivers us a democratic Brexit. Won't be holding my breath. Chris in Wimbledon is my last caller tonight. Chris, hello.
Hi, Nigel. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, but I have to say my faith and belief in this Prime Minister goes down with every month that passes.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I voted for a clean Brexit, but I think this country is in the same position when Greece was trying to negotiate its debt relief or something. It wasn't prepared to leave the euro, so they were taken to the cleaners, and we're not prepared for a no-deal scenario, so I think the EU is going to make us give a lot of concessions. It's going to be a soft Brexit, I think, in the short run, and I think a clean Brexit maybe at best will be a long-term thing so we can disentangle ourselves. The main thing is that we actually leave.
Well, look, Chris, I mean, leaving, let's not underestimate the historical importance of leaving the Treaty of Rome and its subsequent treaties on the 29th of March next year. I get that. That is the thing in a couple of hundred years that kids look back on and say was the historic break. But to do that and to find yourself actually in a worse position than you were before, as I say, almost like Norway but without the fish, would not be much of an achievement, and it would take 2 or 3 general elections to fight through it. Your comment about Greece, Chris, it was Varoufakis. Do you remember him? He was the finance minister, the guy that walked down Downing Street with a donkey jacket. And Varoufakis said, you cannot negotiate with these people. They're not interested. He basically said the European Commission are a bunch of gangsters. Do you think, Chris, a really strong Prime Minister would say simply, do this or we should walk away?
Hard to say, to be honest, because, Theresa May has she has no majority and she's got a divided party to deal with. I think she's just, managing the whole thing.
Yeah, she's managing it. Yep, she's managing it, not leading. Chris, you're right. Thank you. I'm back tomorrow night in London at 7. At 10 o'clock tonight, Ian Payne is in for Ian Collins. But up next, it's Clive Bull.
Nigel, thank you.